Good evening, dear listener. I'm glad you're here. Tonight, you do not need to solve anything, finish anything, or hurry anywhere. You only need to get comfortable, let your shoulders soften, and allow the day to drift a little farther away with every breath. May this story keep you gentle company. May it give your thoughts a quieter place to rest. Settle in, feel the weight of your blanket, loosen the small knots of the evening, and come with me now to a house at the edge of a winter forest, where one lamp always waits in the window, and its light feels like an invitation to rest. You know the house even before you see it. In the deep stillness of a winter night, before the path bends and before the trees part, there is a certain kind of quiet that belongs only to this place. It is not empty quiet and not lonely either. It is full, as if the snow has laid a soft hand over the whole world and asked it kindly to be still. The forest stands in long dark rows under its white coverlet, each branch carrying a patient line of snow, each pine holding its own hush. Above the trees, the sky is clear and dark as blue glass, and the moon moves high and round over the clearing, turning every drift silver. Then the house appears. It stands where the forest ends and the open field begins, small and steady under its steep roof of snow. Light shines from one window only, warm and amber, and there in the center of the glass stands the lamp that is always lit after dusk. You have seen it in all kinds of weather, through falling snow, through mist, through the pearl gray blur of late afternoon, through nights so clear that the stars themselves looked close enough to hear. It is never glaring. It does not call out. It simply glows with such calm certainty that from a distance it seems to say what no busy voice ever quite knows how to say. Come in, set your burdens down. There is warmth here. There is time to rest. Tonight, the lamp is especially beautiful because everything around it is so hushed. Snow has gathered on the fence posts and along the path, smoothing each edge into softness. The well by the side of the house wears a white cap. The woodpile beside the shed is half buried, each split log outlined in pale frost. Even the gate opens without complaint, as if not to disturb the silence. You walk slowly up the path, boots sinking with a faint and pleasing sound in the powder. Your scarf is dusted white. Cold lingers in the wool of your coat, in your gloves, in the tips of your ears. Yet the closer you come to the door, the more you feel the warmth before you even touch the latch, as though the house has been keeping a small pocket of summer at its heart just for you. You step onto the porch, and the boards beneath your boots hold the old, familiar weight of home. Snow rests in a clean line along the railing. A lantern hook by the door is rimmed with frost. The window beside it reflects the lamp's oval glow, and for a moment you see yourself in the glass, softened by amber light, wool collar, chilled cheeks, a face already easing toward peace. You open the door, and the house breathes warm air around you at once. Inside, everything is as it should be. The little entry smells faintly of pine boards, beeswax, and the dry, sweet scent of stacked kindling. You close the door behind you, and with that gentle click, the outer world becomes even more silent, not shut out, but held at a distance, like a beautiful view through glass. You hang your coat on the peg by the door. Snow melts from the hem and leaves dark drops on the mat. You unwind your scarf, peel off your gloves, and flex your fingers in the warmth. The lamp in the front room throws its honey-colored light across the floorboards, over the woven rug, over the old chair near the stove with its draped wool blanket, over the table where a shallow bowl of winter apples gives off the faintest, cool fragrance. The whole room is steeped in that quiet glow, and you feel, in the simplest way, that you have arrived. The stove has not gone out, but it is waiting. A bed of embers glows behind the little iron door, red as the heart of a cherry stone, dimmed with a veil of ash. You kneel on the braided rug in front of it and open the latch. Instantly, a deeper warmth touches your face. The embers shift, alive beneath their pale cover. You lay in 2 small logs first, dry birch with bark curled like paper, then a thicker split piece of pine. You add a little twist of kindling, close the door, and open the draft. For a few moments, nothing seems to happen at all. And then, very softly, flame begins to gather. It slips like gold ribbon around the edges of bark, catches, pauses, catches again. A small crack sounds, then another. Resin wakes in the wood. Fire flowers outward. The stove answers with a low, contented hum, and the whole room changes by degrees, as if it has drawn a longer, easier breath. You stay there a moment, watching the flames settle into themselves. There is something especially comforting about a winter fire when the world outside is made entirely of snow and moonlight. The stove becomes not merely a thing in the room, but the room's quiet center soft collapse of ember. Each bright snap inside a log seems to say that warmth is being made steadily, patiently, enough for the whole house and enough for you. You rest your hand on the wool of your sleeve and feel how the chill in it begins to disappear. In the kitchen, the enamel pot is waiting on the shelf exactly where you left it. Take it down and fill it with milk, pale and cold from the pantry. The spoon you choose is the old wooden one, polished smooth by years of stirring soups, teas, sauces, and the evening milk you favor on nights like this. You set the pot on the stovetop and listen to the faint shift of metal as it settles against the heat. Then you open the crock of honey. Even before you dip the spoon, its scent rises sweet and deep, with a memory of summer folded inside it. Warm fields, slow bees, sunlight on clover. It feels like a lovely secret in the middle of winter. This amber stored brightness. You let a generous ribbon of honey fall into the milk. It disappears, then swirls back in pale gold threads when you stir. The spoon makes a soft circle against the enamel. Steam begins to lift in ghostly curls, delicate at first, then fuller. You warm the milk slowly, never letting it boil. There is no need to rush. The house does not ask you to rush. The night certainly does not. Outside, the snow keeps falling so lightly that you can barely see it. But you know it is there, because now and then the moon changes behind a veil, and the window pane grows a shade softer. While the milk heats, you move through small, familiar tasks that seem to make the room even calmer. You set your mug on the table. You fold back the wool blanket on the armchair and shake it once so it falls in a thicker, softer line over the seat. You place another log within easy reach of the stove. You turn the lamp wick down just a little until the glow becomes rounder and deeper, less bright than bright enough, the color of old amber. Its light settles on the glass window and the polished wood of the sill, and beyond it you can see the world outside in layers. Your own reflection, the drifting snow, the dark edge of the forest, and above all that, the moonlit hush. When the milk is ready, you pour it into the mug. Steam rises in white curls, carrying honey into the air. You wrap both hands around the cup and feel its warmth pass into your palms, your wrists. The ache of the cold that had followed you indoors now giving way completely. You carry it to the chair by the lamp and sit down carefully, the wool cushion yielding beneath you, the blanket drawn over your knees. Your socks are thick and warm. Your Your sweater is a little loose at the cuffs. Firelight touches the edges of the room in copper flashes, while the lamp keeps everything mellow, and even as if no sharp corner of the day can remain in its glow. From this chair, the whole night seems arranged around peace. The stove breathes and crackles. The lamp shines in the window. Snow lies over the field like a smooth white sea. The forest beyond is dark, but not in the least unfriendly. It looks asleep, each tree standing in its own patient dream, roots deep in the frozen earth, branches bearing their silent weight with grace. No wind moves, no animal stirs that you can see. The silence is so complete that it almost seems to have a shape, as though it has gathered itself around the house like another wall, soft and protective. You lift the mug and drink. The milk is sweet, but not too sweet, and there is a soothing richness in it that asks nothing of you except that you pause and receive it. Warmth moves down slowly into your chest and stays there. The honey softens the edges of thought. The heat of the cup keeps your hands occupied in the gentlest possible way. For a little while, you do nothing at all except sit and listen to the wood give its quiet music to the room. It is on nights like this that the lamp in the window feels less like an object and more like a promise kept. You have always kept that lamp lit in winter. Perhaps someone taught you to do it long ago, or perhaps the house itself taught you in its own unspoken manner. There are old houses that seem merely built, and there are old houses that seem to have learned something from the years they have stood under rain and stars and snow. This is one of the latter kind. Its floorboards know the patterns of returning feet. Its hinges know how to open gently. Its walls know how to hold warmth. And the lamp set in the same window night after night, winter after winter, seems to know more than anything else that every living thing grows tired, and that light can be a kindness. You sometimes imagine how the house looks from the forest's edge. To a late traveler, to a neighbor passing across the field, to someone standing under the trees with snow in their hair and cold in their sleeves, that small lamp would not merely say that a house is there. It would say more. It would say that inside there is a chair near a stove, a kettle, a folded blanket, dry socks, warm hands, and quiet. It would say that whoever comes in may exhale at last, even to no one at all, even on nights when the path remains untouched and no other footprints mark the yard, the lamp is worth lighting. Its glow changes the darkness without fighting it. It does not push the night away. It simply offers a place within it where you may be safe and still. Sometimes, watching the lamp reflected in the glass, you wonder if the forest sees it too in some secret way. Not with eyes, perhaps, but with whatever patient awareness belongs to pine trees and snow-covered stones and sleeping fields. The trunks stand in dark rows, solemn and untroubled, and the lamp burns like a captured star at the margin of their silence. There is something almost magical in that contrast. The vast, cold stillness of the winter night, and this single warm center held by glass, brass, flame, and human care. Yet it is a homely magic, the best kind, made not of spells, but of tending, filling the oil, trimming the wick, polishing the chimney, lighting it at dusk, and trusting it to glow until sleep. You sip again from the mug. The honey clings lightly to the rim. Outside, another veil of snow drifts down, slanting so slowly that it resembles ash from an unseen, heavenly fire. It thickens the world without making it heavy. Fence posts blur. The shed becomes softer at the corners. The line where the field meets the forest dissolves and returns, dissolves and returns, as if the night were breathing through gauze. You sit wrapped in wool and lamplight, and there is such a deep comfort in knowing that you do not need to go back out into it. The snow may fall all night if it wishes. The moon may travel west. The trees may stand guard till morning. You are here. The stove is hot. The milk is warm. The lamp is lit. There are books on the shelf nearby, and a basket of mending, and a small clock whose ticking is so polite that it never disturbs the room. You could read if you wanted to. You could knit. You could sit and watch the fire until the last of the milk is gone. But tonight, stillness feels like the right occupation, and so you give yourself to it. You lean back. The chair receives your weight with a faint sigh in the cushions. The blanket rests heavily over your knees, thick and slightly rough in the way that good wool often is, making warmth feel tangible. You trace one finger along the mug's curved handle. Firelight flickers in the polished grain of the floor. The lamp's glow holds steady. Now and then, the house speaks in tiny, sleepy sounds. A beam settles. A kettle lid clicks as it cools. The stove gives a brief ringing note from warming metal, then returns to its steady crackle. These sounds do not interrupt the quiet. They belong to it. They are the sounds of a place at ease with itself. If a house could feel contentment, this one would. You almost feel that the walls are resting too, wrapped in their own winter shawl of snow, keeping the weather outside and the peace inside. When your mug is empty, you sit with it a few minutes longer, because the last warmth in the ceramic is pleasant against your palms. Then you rise and carry it back to the kitchen. The simple act of rinsing it in warm water, setting it upside down to dry, wiping a ring of moisture from the table. These tiny tasks seem to smooth the evening further, like a hand laid over rumpled linen. You lower the draft on the stove so the new log will burn long and even through the night. You add one more piece of wood, not because the room needs it now, but because later, when sleep has deepened and the snow still falls in silence, it will keep the heat steady. The fire catches with a quiet, inward brightness. Before bed, you move through the house and touch the night into place. You draw the curtain in the small back room. You straighten the folded towel by the washstand. You leave the kitchen tidy, the spoon dry, the honey crock closed. You check the latch at the door, not out of worry, but from habit. The window glass is cold when your fingertips brush it, and on the outside edges, delicate ferns of frost have begun to bloom. Their patterns are intricate and white, like leaves drawn by moonlight. Yet in the front window, the circle around the lamp remains clear and golden, a warm eye in the winter dark. You pause there before turning away. From inside, the lamp seems to make a small world. It gathers the chair, the sill, the rug, the old boards, the nearby shelf, the brass handle on the stove, and your own shadow softened on the wall, and holds them all together under one tenderness of light. From outside, you know, it must look different. A single calm brightness in the night, quiet and unwavering, the kind that might guide weary feet without ever commanding them. And perhaps this is why it comforts you so deeply, because even when you are the one inside, even when you are the keeper of the lamp and the tender of the fire, some part of you is also the traveler crossing the snow, seeing that light from afar and understanding at once that rest is near. This thought pleases you. It makes the whole house feel gently enchanted, as if it has been waiting not only for guests from the road, but for every tired version of yourself that has ever come home in winter. The one who was chilled through long day, the one who felt too full of thoughts, the one who needed quiet more than conversation, the one who had forgotten for a little while how healing simple warmth can be. For all of them, for all of you, the lamp has stood in the window saying the same thing in the same patient language of flame. Come in, you may rest now. At last, you carry the night with you to the bedroom. The floor is cool under your feet, but not unpleasantly so. The bed is turned down. Sheets wait smooth and clean, and over them lies a heavy quilt with a wool blanket folded at the foot for extra warmth. The room is dimmer here, lit only by a softened spill from the hallway and the faint red pulse of the stove through the cracked door. Outside the bedroom window, the snow has almost erased the yard. The world is reduced to pale whiteness below and blue darkness above, with the black shapes of trees standing far off like ink strokes. It is beautiful enough to look at for a long time, but not sharp enough to keep you awake. You undress slowly, grateful for the weight of warm fabric as you fold it over the chair. When you slip beneath the covers, the coolness of the sheets lasts only a moment before your body begins to change them. You pull the quilt up to your shoulders. The pillow receives your head with that familiar softness that always seems sweeter at night. In the next room, the stove continues its low conversation with the wood, now gentler, more distant. The sound comes to you through the walls like the hush of a companion who is awake and keeping watch. You lie there and let the house hold you. There is a particular peace in knowing that everything has been tended. The fire is laid. The dishes are washed. The lamp still burns in the front window. Snow covers the roof, the yard, the path, the field. The forest sleeps at the edge of the world, dark and deep and entirely still. Nothing calls for you. Nothing presses. The night is complete in itself. You are allowed to simply be inside it. And because bedtime has its own gentle magic, your thoughts begin to loosen from their usual shapes. The lamp in the window becomes, in your drifting mind, a star lowered to human height. The house becomes a small ship of warmth moored beside a sea of snow. The forest becomes not wilderness, but a great ring of quiet guardians. Pine and fir standing close around the clearing, as if to make sure nothing hurried or harsh can enter. Even the falling snow seems thoughtful, placing white upon white with such patience that it feels like a blessing. you imagine the view from above. Roof silvered with moonlight, chimney breathing a thread of smoke into the cold sky. One amber square glowing at the front of the house. Everything else around it hushed and luminous. It is a tender image, and you settle into it as easily as you settle into the mattress. You can almost believe that the whole world, immense as it is, has become very small tonight, reduced to the things that matter most. Shelter, warmth, wool, wood smoke, sweet milk, lamplight, silence, rest. Your breathing slows. The last little errands of thought drift away like snowflakes crossing the window. In the other room, a log gives one final soft crack, then falls inward among the coals. The sound does not wake you. It only reminds some gentle part of you that the fire is still there, glowing faithfully. Somewhere beyond the glass, the lamp continues to shine out over the white field and the sleeping trees, a warm signal set against the cold. Never urgent, never lonely, simply present. And just before sleep takes you fully, you feel what that light has been saying all along, not only to passers-by, not only to the winter road, but to you here under your blanket, safe in the breathing dark of your own room. It says that rest is not something you must earn tonight. It is already waiting. It says that the world can be silent without being empty, mysterious without being unkind, dark without being unsafe. It says that there is a home at the edge of the forest, and in its window a lamp, and in that lamp a little circle of peace that is wide enough to hold you. So you let go. The snow falls. The house keeps warm. The forest dreams. The lamp glows in the window like a quiet heart. And held in wool, in firelight remembered, in the sweetness of honey and milk, still lingering softly in your chest, you drift at last into